Hello everyone, and today I'll be showing you the current survival world that I have been playing in for the past 2 months. I apologize for lack of video updates. I was just taking a minute to kind of explore my creative side. As you can see, I've built a lot of stuff in this current world without showing you guys, and I do apologize, but I was just messing around with different styles and shapes and block patterns and just going crazy with the creativity for this one. But we are going to condemn this world. But before I do, I just want to show you what I have been working on in the past couple of months, rather than uploading, just so you get to appreciate my sort of creativity with this one and all the different styles I was experimenting with, just to see what I would want to do for the next one. We started out with this little lake house as one of the first things I built in the survival world, just off the water. Working on a little dock, basic house, had a couple chests, a bed, nothing crazy. Not bad for the starter house. Even had a chimney going. It was definitely was cool when it was solo, but things sort of scattered around it. Next thing we did was we built this raised barn style. I do like how the roof turned out, and I even built this little staircase on the side so you can go up to the loft, and the loft could be used as like extra storage space, whatever you want. There's nothing up there, but the raised roof gives you more space on a vertical level, and I just put a couple cows and sheeps in there, and that was basically how we did that. Underneath all these builds, I built one of the mob farms I've showed you guys how to build, and it was super cool doing it underground because it had about 4 layers, and it worked really well. And it was also like not as cluttered, like you didn't have to stare at it. It wasn't an eyesore on this build, didn't take up much space, and it worked really well. As you can see in that chest there, we are filled with loot, and it was cool because right above it you have all these nice stuff, but right below it you have this huge mob farm where I got a lot of my loot from. Right next to that we have our 2 camels, Penelope, and then just a random trader one. Penelope is the pink one, obviously. Um, one of our very random animals we picked up along the way. And everything's connected, so if you go back towards our house and you go towards the right, to the right of our first starter house is a villager breeder, where I took the villagers from a nearby village and put them in here to breed for various projects. And as you can see, it works really well because we still have still cranking out new villagers there, as you can tell. Simple design. I've showed you guys how to make that one as well. And the house again is very simple. Everything on the back and on the side is connected by like almost a boardwalk, so it's easy to get around. You can just go any direction you want. And then over here in front of that one is a little cow, semi-automatic cow crusher. I've showed you how to build this one too during my tutorials throughout the past couple of months. And again, very simple design, very practical for a survival world, and it was very close, similar to the other style. And as you notice, we have scattered like different farms, carrot, wheat, basic sugarcane farm. If we go down over here, we have our potato farm, I believe, the starter one. Right here is where we get bone meal from. So you take those extra seeds or potatoes, stick it in the top, and it shoots bone meal at the bottom. Right here is a little dog pen. We put all of our tamed dogs in there. Just a little place to put them so they're not in the way, but you know where to look for them. Here's our potato farm. Again, very simple, nothing crazy, just your starter stuff, watermelons. Our AFK Fish Farm, another video I've showed you guys how to make. This was in a survival world. We used that as a good source of food for a little while there. All this so far has been all starter stuff. If we come over here, this is some of the later game stuff. Like we have the House of Rupert. Rupert is a pig that will make it to every survival world. If you haven't seen him before, you're seeing him now. Rupert, he has his own home because he's a queen. And he even has a little patio back there. He can go out on the patio. But Rupert is the best, so he has his own house, and we can always say hi to Rupert when we need to. Right next to Rupert's house, I was screwing around with the different types of wool, doing sort of a 2D pixel art style. Obviously, there's different potion bottles, and each potion bottle is a different color. And when you walk inside, it's like walking into this giant potion bottle. We have everything you possibly need to make potions, as well as a cleric. And so it's our separate potion making area. Now, if we go back down towards our starter house on the left, is the Nether Portal for this world. Very simple, just a Nether Portal. And then we have our main mine shaft area where we would get all of our resources from. And on the right-hand side is a huge drop down to the diamond level. And yeah, so as you can see, we've definitely done some mining down here. And then it's simply just a water source elevator back to the top, but it's a very long ride, so I'll skip some of it so you don't have to watch the whole darn thing. And back at the top, as you can see, we are right outside the starter home. So again, this is all basic stuff that you could see in any survival world. This was just, getting set up before I started working on some huge projects. This was one of the larger projects. I did a video on this one in this world. You can check it out. It's one of my more recent videos. The automatic sugarcane farm, double-sided with the windows open. And as you can see over here, we have some other huge builds going on. But as you go back towards the path towards our main starter house, you can see we have a new texture I was working with using flowers and dripstone pads and the moss blocks, making a decorative walkway to get through the village. Messed up with some vines a little bit, and I wanted to make it look like this temple was kind of sat in an overgrown path. This temple was one of my larger builds, and it was so cool. In the middle is this fully leveled enchanting table, so it's accessible from any side, and anyone can use it. So I thought that was cool. If you go over here, we have a wheat field on one half, and you walk into this raised platform building, and this was our secondary house that we lived out of, our secondary base. As you can see, this is the map of the current area, and it doesn't look like much, but that it is a lot. As you can see, we've been walking through about a half of it, and it does take up quite some space. You can take this bridge over to the other section of the house, and it goes over the walkway there. And here was our main storage area where we sorted through all of our stuff, and we had our tools and an extra bed. You go back down, and the other half is in the middle of a potato field, so you have to walk through a field to get to it. Very secure. So we never had any problems with mobs. Right here is our first ever wool farm, automatic wool farm. I've showed you guys how to make this a while ago. That was fun to make. Over here, we have this one. This one I thought was really cool. It's in the shape of a carrot that's in the ground currently, growing out of the ground, and it's an automatic carrot farm inside. Take a guess if you want to know how that one works. I'm pretty sure you can take a gander, but figure it out. Over here, we have our huge, and I mean huge, fully automatic wool farm. We have a sheep of every single color that gets automatically sheared, and all the wool gets collected. Over here we have a couple shepherds. We were going to do a few more, and in the back there as well. So this one was unfinished, but just the fact that we have every single color wool being constantly collected. As you can see, all the sheep are dyed there. Just, it was going to be really helpful for some projects I was thinking about working on. This one took a long time, especially with the redstone, stuff like that. But we have every color wool. Right next to that, we have our giant honeycomb, or at least it was supposed to be a honeycomb. And inside is where we kept all of our bees. Nothing crazy. Over here, just some empty space. Here was a basic horse stable with a couple skeleton horses we found in there. Behind here, our secondary house, this is one of my favorite projects. Again, this is one of my more recent videos. It is the Panda Sanctuary, I called it. And this one took hours, but again, messing with moss blocks and flowers and bamboo, and just going with this cool style. And at the end, there's these decorative statues that are spitting out water. And it's just a cool way to really put pandas in rather than a regular pen. And a lot of terraforming went into this one. So again, this one, definitely check it out if you can. It's one of my favorite ones ever. Here we have just a basic, like what do you call it? Like a villager trade market, we'll call it. A farmer's market. Farmer's market. That's our farmer's market. Over here was our secondary mining area, mostly for cobblestone. But while I was doing it, I was like, oh, let's make it decorative so it looks nice. As you can see down here, it's all decorative using birch planks. So make it look like a mine shaft. Just because we wanted to get cobblestone, and as you can see, it's unfinished, but that's okay. And when you go back up, I really wanted to make it look like it was kind of carved into the hill here. So I used a lot of stone and moss, and even a couple of buttons on the ground to give it that texture. So I like how it almost looks like it was carved into the hill there. Another one of my favorite ones. This one I wasn't too happy with, but again, time consuming. This was supposed to be a little church. I'm happy with how the inside turned out. It looks nice. I used some banners for the aisles and stuff like that. And oh goodness. All right. Don't read that. Anyway, so this is the church. Nothing crazy. And then if you walk outside the church, we have this basic graveyard. I didn't really go too crazy with that one again. Just for decoration. Over here, it looks pretty okay. Here we have one of probably the sillier ones that I've done. Inside is just a basic chickens and a hopper to collect their eggs, and of course it's in the shape of a giant chicken. Anyways, so if we go back towards here, and then everything's connected by paths, which is nice because you can easily access everything, but it is a little cluttered, and it's almost claustrophobic trying to find, especially if you're not familiar with it. So I definitely want to start fresh. But anyways, okay, so now we have the other half. We did all that. Over here, our boardwalk continues. We have a couple of custom-made boats. These I'm pretty proud of. They're pretty small and they're good-sized boats. Next to it, we have our villager trading hall. Hence, like, the docks and, trading every single type of villager in there. Simple style building, nothing crazy, nothing to brag home about. And then right next to the villager hall, we have more boats on the dock. And then we have a just sort of person trading station. Never really picked up on that one. This simple build. Again, more boats, lots of boats, all made by hand. Here we have our zombie villager curing station where we'd shove our villager and then make the zombie infected and then cure the villager to get better trades. There's a lighthouse there. This was my most recent project, was the castle. The castle, the bottom layer at ground layer, has like a dock that goes around the edge of the castle wall. You go up a layer, and it's a path that goes completely around the castle, and you can even access this giant storage area that was doing on the bottom. This one took such a long time, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. This was my main storage area at the time. Just, obviously we have a full-size beacon underneath us. You can access it from any side, and the path goes all around. You can go up another layer, and you're on the bottom layer of the main castle. There's no decorations in here, but it is all finished inside. And then there's another 3 layers you can go up. So this is the second layer of the castle. There's 2 more above us. So it's huge, lots of rooms to check out. I won't go through them all because it'll just bore you because there's nothing really exciting to see. But it's just like a giant, literally a giant mansion of rooms. And here, this was a project I was working on, but I never finished. It's like a villager trading hall, the upgraded version, and this is our master level cartographer that was cured a few times. So it's like 1 pane of glass per emerald, like, so ridiculously like level trades. A couple bridges to get across with the openings in the middle, so you can still drive a boat through it if you want to go through the water. And it's really cool walking up to the village. The only other thing I could think of is this iron farm here that funded all of our projects. Again, made a video on that one. So a lot of the stuff I did in this one were not very new. All of the farms and the automations and stuff like that I've showed you guys how to do. There's plenty more I can teach you guys, but with this particular one, I was more focused on the different styles. As you can see, it's like a hodgepodge of every and any style, different building blocks, different building styles, different colors, textures, shapes, patterns, just for practice for future videos, because I have a couple other tutorials coming down the pipeline for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed. This is just my current world. It's going to be the last time I play on it, and I'll be starting fresh for you guys. So let me know if you want anything in the future, and I hope you enjoy.